In a world where gaming is everything, welcome to the Extreme Gaming Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to Extreme Gaming Podcast, episode 265. We're recording this on Tuesday, January 28th, because Trev has to make his football game on Thursday. So we want to make sure he can make it. We also have Tarl on today, too, but I'll let everybody introduce themselves. So I'm Great Gamer 25, and go, guys.
Spoiler alert, man. He's introduced Tar before he's had a chance to introduce himself. Man, it's shocking.
Yes.
Boring Trev,
VIP.
as always. Hello. Good evening. Good day.
And Matt, also known as Irish Guardian. Hello, how you do?
And hi, everyone. My name's Tarlo. I'm from Gamertech, and thanks for having me back on the show. I just wanted to do a quick shout-out, guys. Is that okay? Just to the best little girl that there ever was. Keep slaying, Indy.
Thank you.
Keep
you
slaying.
Give us a backstory to that one or no?
That's my girlfriend's little girl. She watches the pod for about the first 30 minutes, and she's like, please mention
What was her
me
name
here."
again? What was her name again?
Indy.
Indy, hi. By the way, is your last name Jones? No, okay, never mind.
I call her Indiana Jones. That's my nickname for her. Love it.
Nice, good.
Tar, quickly, we meant to do this last time. We obviously couldn't make it. Why don't you quickly plug what you do for Gamertech?
Yeah, go for
You're
it.
very kind, Trev. Thank you. So, gamertech.org for the
Okay, that's enough.
best value gaming PCs in the UK.
Go ahead, sorry.
Love that. No, that's it. Just please visit gamertech.org. We really have the best value gaming PCs in the UK. And if you have a look, I'm pretty sure you'll be surprised at how good they are. 3-year warranty and lifetime customer service. Gamertech.org.
Thank you. Sounds good. We are on the socials. We're on the socials. We're on the socials, YouTube, Extreme Gaming Podcast, Facebook, Extreme Gaming Podcast. TikTok we're not on anymore because the US has banned it for now.
TikTok.
So if
it's
you're
back. TikTok's back. TikTok's back, and it was only banned in the States, nowhere else.
no, that's true. It is available elsewhere, but the States, we have a lot of people over here. It's a big country, so we'll see. It may come back eventually. We hope anyway. What happened? What happened to Matt?
Come back eventually.
Matt, come back. We were also on X, but we couldn't get the gaming part of the name, so it's Extreme Podcast on X. And Matt, tilt your camera down or zoom in because you look like really tiny now.
I know. It's blooming thing. It's got a bit of its own.
That's what his girlfriend says.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Matt. How do you do?
So we have a lot of stuff. We thought coming into this, I was kidding around with Trev earlier, and it looked like it was going to be a slow news week and, have to kind of pull for some stuff to do on the podcast and stuff. And then all of a sudden, all kinds of other stuff started breaking, and we have more than enough, as usual. So plenty to talk about, and we're going to start it off with some game news for a change. And we're going to let Matt go into it. He's done a bunch of stuff. So, Matty, why don't you take it away?
Sure, absolutely. Where are we talking about? Here's one for you. So, GTA 6 costed monies. So, with this one, on January the 19th, I saw this article, so I thought it might be quite interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
The presentation titled The State of the Video Gaming of 2025. An analyst called Matthew Ball from Pillion hypothesized that the upcoming release of Grand Theft Auto 6 could lead to a significant price increase to the video games. Ball suggested that there is hope within the industry that publishers like Take-Two Interactive will price GTA 6 at $80 to even $100 for the basic standard. There, we could start the whole gaming industry to do the same thing. The presentation also highlighted that the challenges faced by the gaming industry, including rising development costs and the need to maintain inflation-adjusted prices, which I find that's absurd.
I do too.
Yeah, I think they're just joining the rest of, commercialism on there.
First of all, what bothers me a lot about that is GTA is already going to make like $1 billion or whatever when it comes out.
Yeah.
And that's only in the console side of things. Eventually, when it comes out on PC, it'll be another $1 billion or whatever.
Absolutely.
And so they got to raise the price another $10. Are you kidding?
Absolutely.
I feel like I've got a hot take here, but I think it's okay, guys. Honestly,
$80?
Yeah, maybe this is going to be a weekly thing, Tyle's hot take, but yeah, I mean, look, the prices of video games have really not gone up since even I started buying video games. You know, you get a Super Nintendo game for, 40, 50 pounds. And when you consider that some of them you can get 100 plus hours, 120, 150 hours of enjoyment out of it, I'm okay with that. Now, if it's a shit game, no way, you're not gonna pay any kind of money for a shit game.
See, you just said something interesting there. Yeah. Most people aren't going to know if it's shit until they look at like maybe a bunch of different reviews before they ever buy, where that normally they would have just bought. But when it comes, when it's parking at 70 right now and going to go up to 80, nobody's going to just buy it flat out.
Yeah, well, don't pre-order games. I mean, just don't pre-order games, guys. That's just it's stupid. It's a bad idea. But wait until the third-party reviews come out, and if they're like 90+%, yeah,
I also see a problem with that now. What if that's going to force more people to look for game reviews before they plunk down the money, whereas before they might have plunked down the money, which in turn could actually hurt sales in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not so sure that's all that wise an idea. And if they were going to do it, why would they jump at $10? They just did jump at $10 recently.
Yeah.
And now they're jumping another 10?
I'm much less inclined to pay big money for a game if it has microtransactions inside it as well. So,
right.
But it seems like every big release has microtransactions inside it.
Always something there, isn't there? Loot boxes.
I'm almost getting to the point, and I know this sounds weird, I'm almost getting to the point where I'd rather have some of the microtransactions and bring the price down of the game, because some people don't care about a lot of the cosmetics and other garbage that they sell. I don't care, unless it's something I really want, and if I really want it, guess what? I'm going to pay for it.
I'm with Tar on this one. I am. It's yeah. How do you price something how do you price a digital product? It's a lot more difficult to price that than a physical item. And I'm not just talking about games. That could be anything in life. Digital is really difficult. And essentially, it's up to the people that make it to say what the value of said item is. If the game is cracking value, it's got a lot of gameplay in it, I like to think $10 or £10 a generation is fair and reasonable. And it is for the most part. But again, we take this with a pinch of salt. It is just rumour mill at the moment. I don't think they'll actually increase the price, Rockstar.
I don't think so either.
I think they'll have a special edition like they always do, and they'll have their digital special editions that'll be an extra $10, $20, whatever. Then the ultimate Billy Big Balls edition that we'll touch upon when we get to Doom in a little bit. So I don't know if they'll increase it because it is par for the course. People will follow them if they do that. We'll see how we go.
I definitely think they will increase.
Well, the other thing that I can't stand is that if GTA were to do that, again, yes, I understand it's rumor, but if they do that, it gives everybody else the excuse to raise it $10 because they probably wouldn't have done it on their own.
Yeah.
But because GTA is doing it, that gives them carte blanche to do it across the board. And as far as, paying for what you're getting, I mean, I get it, Carl, but then if you look at a game, and we're going to talk about it in a little while, Enshrouded is still $30. $30, and that game blows away so many other games out there right now. I mean, completely blows them away. And they keep on putting updates, and they don't charge for any of it.
Yeah,
and
that's dedication.
They're on because they're on the concept that if we put out good stuff, and they are, people will continue to buy the game, and they continue to sell copies at $30.
Absolutely, I don't mind digital copies being cheaper. As you don't need to spend costs on packaging or anything like that.
Exactly.
So just use that.
Unless
money
we talk about AI, which we are going to do too later on. Yeah. That's going to start getting in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, though. Difference between physical and digital.
Yeah,
there was a bit of a difference in actual cost when they first started bringing this out, like digital as a marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
There was maybe like a $10, £10 difference.
There was a difference.
A bit more.
Yeah.
But now you get little, if no difference. The price are exactly the same, and I
Pretty
think
much,
it's down to physical media being so cheap to produce that they're like, we're not really saving much. You pay the same as digital. I mean, all happens. We all know what happens with digital.
Yeah.
Once you pop your clogs, you can't give your library to anyone else, which doesn't bother me in the slightest. But
yeah, would be nice though. Yeah,
would be nice.
Doesn't Steam still have the family share thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? So
they do the family share thing, but I know that continues through. Yeah.
I don't think anybody else does it. I don't think Epic and all those guys do that.
No, they don't.
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
Xbox that live, no. So Michael Ball also noted that while the game budgets are at an all-time high, real-term game prices have never been lower. So he says. This has led to a situation where many decision makers, in the industry are hoping that GTA 6 will break the current price barrier and allow other publishers to follow suit, as we were just thinking there. Despite the potential benefits for the industry, Ball also acknowledged that no player hopes for such a hike in game prices and emphasizes that the goal should always be to deliver more value than what is charged. Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick has previously addressed price-related concerns, stating that the company's aim is to provide more value to customers. So there we go.
Yeah, but when you hear something like that, I'm sorry, because I come from a marketing background of 35 years. That's all bullshit, because all they're sitting there saying is going like, well, we honestly believe that if we're going to hire the prices that, we're going to deliver a bang game, man. It's going to be so great. Right. Meanwhile, most of the press on a lot of games coming out is bad because they're bad. Or just
the only thing they want to deliver more value to is the shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, when it comes down to it, And look at that, but in the long run, look how it hurts. And Ubisoft's a perfect example. When their share was up to $70 because they're putting out quality games, then all of a sudden they fall because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and it drops to $11. So now they're not only making not good games for us, the players, they're not even making good games for the shareholders either. I mean, it's kind of like every time you turn around, you see a game like Enshrouded come out, or even Once Human, which didn't charge anything, okay, and people really like the game. It flies in the face of what we're talking about. I mean, you build a good game, and they will come.
Yeah,
I mean,
one thing that's always confused me about game development is, how do you get 3, 4, however many years into developing a game, and not realize that it's just bad? Like,
I don't know.
Are you just so kind of inside it, deeply entrenched, you can't see the wood from the trees, you can't see, outside.
I think you're right about that. I think you just said it, and you're right. Look at the Star Wars Outlaws. We all wanted that game to be good. We all heard it was open world. We all heard it was going to be cool. It's going to be like open world, like Assassin's Creed.
Sorry to jump in really quickly, Matt. We can hear you clicking on every single key. The reverb's really bad.
Oh,
you don't need to fix it now, man. Maybe just mute in between chatting and stuff. So
and it'll come out on the audio thing, because Tarl did that last time, and once the audio took it right out.
No, but for the next hour and a half, it'll do her. For the next hour and a half, it'll do her tits in, mate. So that's what I'm saying.
I love that Tarl does it now. He goes like this. See,
Matt,
stop it.
Most code.
Let's have a clack off.
Yeah,
the clack. Oh, I like that clack off. That's neat. We can all start doing it. Here we go. Ready? Did you hear that?
Oh.
Anyway, so to go back on what we were saying before on Star Wars Outlaws, there's other games too, but that's the shining example. And we were all really, really looking forward to it. And then all of a sudden it comes out and we all play it and it's pure crap. And even with the updates that they've done, it's still not that great. And it's too little too late.
How does it happen?
I mean,
really?
I was really, really looking forward to that game. I really was. Then all of a sudden, that was the end of it. Why? How can you do that? Now, the other side of the example would be Doom. When id Software comes out with a Doom game, I'll pay full price because the game is more than worth it.
It's a rare exception, though. We don't do that often.
But you know what? Doom should be held up there as the gold standard, and if you can shoot for getting at least maybe close to that, or great, then that's great. But nobody seems to really do that sometimes. I mean, I know there's a couple other games, like God of War Ragnarok is great, Horizon's great, and the sales reflect that and so forth. But unless you're going to attain, if you want that kind of money, you need to attain that kind of gold standard level, or at least get freaking close. And
is there any
all these other small companies do it? There's so many smaller companies with 10 employees, 20 employees, 5 employees, 1 employee.
Doing it more quality,
and they do better games.
Does anyone think that there's a game that they would have paid $80 to $100 for that's already been out?
No, not that's already been out.
No.
I don't care
Unless
what
you get something good with it. No.
I mean, if the new Doom that's going to come out said they wanted $80, I would give it a hard think, only because it's Doom. Other than that, hell no. Sorry, I'll wait for a sale or something.
What about Half-Life 3? What if that's $100?
He doesn't play Half-Life though. He's not a Half-Life guy, so he wouldn't know.
Have my money, Gaben.
Yeah, but it doesn't. But wait a minute now. It doesn't matter because I know how big Half-Life 3 would be when it comes out. I have a feeling that Steam is not going to do something like that. They're going to price that game reasonable, and they're going to do great, with it.
I think even if GTA is $100, I think Half-Life 3 will probably still be $50.
Right. I could very well see that, because Steam doesn't have to worry about it. They'll make it in the long run.
Yeah.
And again, even if it was 60, maybe even 70, if I'm that excited about Half-Life 3, then fine. But when you start getting 80, man, 90, 100, it's like, you better be giving me something for it. Like when they did the Doom thing where they gave you the helmet. I mean, okay, that was pretty cool. I mean, it was life-size, big helmet. Nice, so if you're going to spend the money, at least you get something pretty cool. Trev had that briefly that one time on God of War Ragnarok. He had Thor's hammer. The thing was like this big.
And I had the Doom Slayer helmet as well.
Yeah,
I ended up selling them on for like a good profit later on though, which is great.
And that's okay. That's up to you, right? But the point is that they were pretty cool. They were really neat looking. I mean, if I was going to spend the money, man, that's what you want. I mean, not these little statues. You're paying extra for $20 and get a statue this big.
3D printed one or something.
Yeah, anybody can do that. Like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, well, let's get on to your second part there, Matt. You were talking about a thief game or something?
Yeah, so this one's probably up your alley there.
Cool.
It's quite interesting. They did a what's it? They redid Thief, the normal one, and the one that's on VR sort of thing. So they did this one as a basic normal sort of game, which is available on Steam. It's all stealth. You play as a master thief who burglars houses and steal as much loot as possible. The objective is to search the area for valuable things, valuables, wallets, you name it, and then exchange them for money. Each level that increases gives you more difficulty, offering more tools and greater challenges. I've got a little clip here. Do you want me to put a clip on here?
I can put it in later. I can edit it.
Yeah, you can put it in. Cool. I only say that because it's.
Is there anything else besides stealing valuables? Is that all they say, or is there? So
you have to go around towns, go around houses, break in without setting off alarms, that type of thing. Okay. It's a top down. Is it top down? Yeah, it's top down. Old type of school game, 32-bit style. That you love, Gray, so much. So there we go.
So you also simulator.
Yeah. So you have to evade the owners of the houses, cops, and passerbys as well, so you don't get caught. There is quite a bit of mature content on there with a little bit of P's and Q's and all that in there. But it's quite good. And it is free at the moment until the 24th. So that's probably not free anymore now. But it was free for a limited time. So yeah, it's definitely a pixel art,
right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it is a pixel style art, retro, nostalgic game that has been doing quite well on the reviews.
I'll take a look.
Yeah,
stealth is cool, so I'll take a look.
Cool.
Avoid the cops, right? Neat.
Yeah, you might be upset with the 32 bits, but yeah, should be all good.
Do they have like Dobermans and stuff? So like when you're stealing stuff, they get Doberman bites you in the butt and you have to drag it around with you.
No, only not that I could have seen from what I watched so far. I think they just have people, cops.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. I gotta see how the AI handles the cops, whether they're really smart or stupid.
Yeah. Probably, yeah. I think it'd be quite basic. Cool. But yeah, it is quite a laugh. Good fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what's your next one?
My next one is I got
Black
5
Ops.
bits. Yeah, so thank you very much, Mr. Gray. Mr. Trev, I should say. Yeah. So everybody's burden, everybody's bit that we don't like, we get upset about it, is the cheaters and hackers of Call of Duty Black Ops 6. especially when it comes down to the ranked play as well. It's been getting so annoying for everybody. So at the moment, Treyarch have banned over 136,000 cheaters.
136,000?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is a huge crackdown. Yeah, absolutely. We need it. Of their ongoing efforts to combat the cheating and hacking and ensures a fair gaming environment. Treyarch have implemented new layers of security, including updated detection models for behaviors like aimbotting and hardware identifiers for serial cheaters. Treyarch have also introduced new detection and warning systems for spam reporting and enhanced cross-examination tools to reduce the time it takes to review reports. I'm one of them that if I see a cheater, I'm spamming them until that person's gone. Never works. Additionally, from Season 2, players will have the option to disable cross-play in ranked player mode for further addressing cheating problems. These measures are part of Treyarch's commitment to provide a better experience for legitimate players and maintaining the integrity of the game. I mean, even when we were playing zombies, myself, Jansen, and Scythe, we had people on there that have like a continuous bombardment of grenades.
Really?
Yeah, and so when we're getting stuck sort of thing, this guy is just throwing out grenades left, right, and center. I was like, there's no way that it's something that's it's not a perk. Yeah. So yeah, we didn't like that at all. So we came out of the game and started again. That type of thing. It ruins the game. What do you guys think of cheaters, hackers?
I think that's ridiculous. I mean, if you're going to do that, why don't you just not play PvP and just play like a campaign and hack that one and throw as many bombs as you want?
That's the point, though, Gray. They want to be able to, destroy people and feel all clever and great, and that's why they do it.
It's like the ones that make viruses for no reason. Same thing.
Some people just want to see the world burn.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. Somebody doesn't like their prestige. There we go. I've reached prestige 1.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I have to start again. That's pretty much it.
Well, Matt, that's interesting you mentioned that, right? Because there's an update tonight for Black Ops 6 and Warzone Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like new zombie map and new multiplayer maps out. I was looking at the trailer there while you guys were chatting. It's a general trailer. There's nothing to do with zombies I can see in there, which sucks. But even more content for you to play if you have not reached a high enough prestige.
Absolutely, cool. Yeah. I do like that the big map of the zombies. That is quite interesting. That is good. It's very much PvE. The one on their Warzone stat map where you can have the zombies instead, and you go around doing the.
Is that Black Ops 6 or is that an older game?
Older one, yeah.
Oh, I know
think
the one
it's the
you're
previous
talking about.
one.
Yeah.
So like a more open world zombie thing?
Yeah. And you got like all the what is it? Like missions there in that map. So you have to go to each one separately, sort of thing, and cover your ass.
Now you were saying the old one, is it not on Black Ops 6 now? Or?
No. They are saying that they are bringing back some old things to Black Ops 6. I think they're more of skins and weapons for multiplayer rather than anything else. They are doing a new map as well. So hopefully...
I would like a more open world zombie kind of map, because then I can get my favorite sniper gun and go ping, 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 ping.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's part of the problem. As a sniper, if you might as well forget it. They just roll right over you and eat you.
Yeah. I'm always getting caught by the hordes. So much going on. So you get stuck either right in between them or right in the corner somewhere.
You're getting stuck by what? Who? Horse? What? Are you?
Hordes.
Oh, I tell you, hordes. Sorry, my ears. Yeah.
My wallet's too empty for all that.
The other option didn't sound too bad either, to be fair.
It didn't. No.
Did you ever stop and think, like, where do all the zombies come from? Because they don't procreate.
Oh, we don't talk about that, Gray. We don't talk about that. We never talk about that. No.
Do that for Edinburgh. Yeah. Ooh.
Okay.
What?
Here we have a zombie and its natural instincts. Yeah.
All right.
Wrong side.
Anyway, next is speaking of Star Wars, something's coming.
Yeah. Something far, far away in a galaxy far, far, far away. Next to Lars and all that.
That's bad.
There's rumors swirling around a new game of Star Wars. Hopefully Ubisoft are not touching it. Don't touch it. Leave it alone. Get
they ain't
out.
doing that again.
Yeah, absolutely. So this rumor that I heard on the 19th within the Q gaming community is talking about a RTS style game set in the Star Wars universe. This was leaked by somebody called Timur222. The game is reportedly developed by Respawn Entertainment under EA. So, I think the graphics probably be really good. And expected to be announced during Japan's Star Wars Celebration event, which will be taking place on the 18th of April to the 20th. While there's no real official confirmation from EA or Respawn, the rumor does suggest that this new RTS game will bring a fresh new experience to Star Wars, since the last RTS they've had was Empire at War, which was in 2006. Fans have been eagerly awaiting the return of this type of genre for Star Wars, so hopefully they do come through with it. There's been a significant force in the gaming industry since the earliest days, with titles spanning from multiple generations and genres through Star Wars lifespan.
Significant force.
Yeah. And also, if you guys remember Eclipse, Star Wars Eclipse, apparently I've tried to find out more information about it because it all went very quiet. So apparently they're still working on it. There is going to be an Eclipse somewhere down the line.
How long has that been, though? It's been going on.
Oh, it's been years, few years, 3 years, 4 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really hope this was true.
Oh, me
really,
too.
I do. There hasn't been a decent RTS game for so long. Me and my friends, we love playing RTS. We do a yearly LAN, and we're still playing Supreme Commander 2 and Company of Heroes.
Yes.
I mean, come on, guys. It's just like
the last one that came out that I was hoping was going to be good was Homeworld 3, but that didn't turn out to be good.
Did
you ever play that, Gray? Did you ever actually bloody play that thing?
I played a little bit of it, and then I started hearing about all this stuff, and then they did some real cool breakdowns of what the game was all about, and I was like seeing stuff that I was like, what?
Did you pay full price for it?
Yeah, unfortunately.
You mug. What were you just discussing?
It was 20 years since they put a good one out, and I loved Homeworld 1 and 2.
That's all the reason to wait a bit longer before putting your big...
There's no way they would go bad.
Wow.
But it did.
Yeah.
You've let me down, Gray. I'm disappointed in you.
Obviously, lesson learned. He's never going to pre-order again, right, Gray?
I don't pre-order often, that's for sure. The only time I think I've ever pre-ordered was Doom. That was it. I may have bought a game day 1 or day 2 for full price once in a great while if I really liked it, but I never pre-ordered except Doom.
I very rarely ever pay full price for a game, never mind pre-order, because the amount of Game Passes you've got out there, so many things going to Game Pass on either Xbox or PlayStation, I don't see the point. The amount of cheap games you get on PC, and we'll be touching that article very shortly as well, why would you need to? So this whole price of games going up to maybe $80, £80, I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it, because I probably would very rarely ever pay it anyway. So,
Look, I'm happy that the new Doom game is on Game Pass, because I paid for the last 2. So now that it's on Game Pass,
I broke my pre-order rule. Oh, sorry, Gray.
No, go ahead.
I broke my pre-order rule once when Diablo 4 came out, and I think one day before it released, when I saw the reviews, I refunded it
right away.
Wow.
No, couldn't do it. It was so obvious that all of those reviews were fake. I don't know if you guys really saw that, but yeah, there was a lot of the user reviews or all of the discourse on things like forums and Reddit all saying, man, it looks terrible, it looks really bad, but all the reviews were just saying really, really good things. And I just thought, wow, are they just buying reviews now?
Probably.
Yeah, that's it.
Some of that goes around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that happens a lot in the movie industry. These days, people used to go by their favorite critic. Nobody does now. The critic says something, the audience says it's great, everybody goes because the audience said it was great.
Well, that's a pretty big subject in itself, right? Can you trust any critic that's, because they're bought and paid for by the industry, right?
Sometimes. supposedly not everybody is, but I don't know. These days, the problem is many back in the 90s, they took the laws of owning media stations, in other words, radio stations, TVs, and others, changed the rule that you could basically buy whatever you wanted. So what was happening before that is corporations were not allowed to buy more than one station because they didn't want a monopoly owned by one person. In other words, to sway the news towards what they want. Yeah, well, in the 90s, they decided, well, we're not going to do that anymore. So now all the stations, for the most part, are all owned by conglomerate corporations. And so when you have a corporation own the 20 best stations in the country, let's say for argument's sake, what are they going to do? They're going to slant it towards what they want. So it's just, we're living under those kind of conditions. And yes, it's been that way for a long time, but I knew back then that wasn't going to be good after a while. And sure enough, it's not. So
even when you see these, the YouTubers that are receiving, 5090s for, a week before they come out, you got to ask yourself, are they really going to bite the hand that feeds them? Because that content, that day one content, is what drives their channel. They're coming out with the review saying, yeah, this is great, we really love it, and everyone's watching that to see whether it's a good product or not. If they don't have that product, they're not going to get the views.
What I love is that when they come on, right, and they get their 59 or whatever it might be, and they go like, well, we were given this by the company, but it in no way, changes my opinion, and I'm allowed to say whatever I want. Just the fact that you said that means that it's, I'm not believing it.
I'm skeptical personally, but
yeah. Anyway, we're going to move on, and Travis got a slew of tech news for us, and we'll all chime in. So go ahead, Mr. Trev.
It's Nvidia stuff. It's the new launch, of course, that is what it has to be spoken about. There's already people queuing with 2-3 days. Well, they started yesterday, 3 days to go before the launch to get a bloody card. That's sad. I'm sorry. If you're one of these people listening, I'm not sorry. That's ridiculous,
outside
man.
Micro Center.
No. The days are gone of queuing outside shops or anything now. Not for me, but I was reading some articles on the launch of these cards, and first and foremost, the size of the 5080 and 5090, especially the 5090 compared to the previous gen, is unbelievable. They went from nearly 4-slot cards down to 2-slot cards, and that's sort of 5090. And I was thinking, how did they do it? So I did read an article here talking about the reduction of the 5090 specifically. 4080s come down in size as well, but the 5090 is up to 40% smaller than the 4090, which is mental. It blows my mind, really. And there was a few things they done to actually try and make this achievable. Now, we've been hearing from people that, listen, it's going to be smaller, so it'll be noisier. It'll be like a jet engine taking off. And you want to know something? If something's running at full speed, using most of the card's power, I don't really have a problem with being noisy. You know that if you're a gamer, that you have a good card, this is the way it's going to be. You have headphones or earphones anyway. It's fine. But they decided to try and make this smaller by going down the route of a vapor chamber for cooling. They've got when you see the picture of the 5090, it looks kind of similar to the last gen-ish, where they've got a blow-through system. You can literally blow right through the card on either side, as opposed to the push-pull system they had before. And looking at this, you think, right, okay, so where they actually fit the PCB, and they've actually managed to put it in the middle, because before it would just go along the card, the length of the card, a good chunk of it. So you'd have to just literally keep the whole card cool. But what they've decided to do is actually keep the boards that they need in the middle of the card. And they've split it into a couple of different boards. There maybe is more than one, but there's some other board. There's a daughter board for the AIO. The actual main board for the actual chip and memory and whatnot on it as well. And they've used a vapor chamber along with liquid metal to actually keep the whole thing cool. And what's cool about this is, pun intended, they've actually made an airtight seal around where the chip is. That's mental. Like the amount of engineering and R&D that's went into this I just find fascinating. And I know there's some people out there that'll be like, yeah, I'm not paying that, and that's I respect your opinion. But for me, I think that's brilliant. They've obviously the power cable that had problems before in the last gen, the way it was sticking out at a horrible angle, and it was causing problems with power, and some systems were going up in flames and whatnot. They've redesigned that at an angle, and that connects to a daughter board. So when you see a picture of it, really fascinating what they've actually done to make it smaller. The 5080 will be smaller as well. I don't know the percentage, probably not as big as 40%, but nevertheless, it's still fascinating. And both of those cards would fit in my case. I just don't have the power supply to run the 5090, nor would I pay it. Gray put an article in before about the 5090 Founders Review. Now, we've just been cherry picking some things, looking at basically the pros and the cons of it. Now, these reviewers have had this card for a couple of weeks at least. This is the longest run-up they've ever had to a launch for testing. And in an ideal world, that's what you want, so they can give you an in-depth review. Now, the 5090 doesn't come out for a couple of days, same time as the 5080. Yet, the embargo for the 5080 doesn't drop until the day it launches in 2 days' time. That tells you everything.
Why do you think that is then, Trev?
Oh, yes, because it won't be the same bang for your buck that you're hoping for. But we don't know.
There are going to be some sad Nvidia fans out there.
There is. I hope
is.
I can get access to a couple of reviews, like midnight my time. I don't know if that would work, because a lot of these YouTubers that test it are in the States, so that might work for me because you guys are behind. So if they put it for midnight their time, I can watch a couple of reviews before trying to buy a card myself. Now, it'll be very difficult for me to get a card, and if I don't get a card, I won't be too sad because I like my 4080 Super. It's a cracking card, but I do want to try and get a 5080. And even if the 5080 isn't all it's cracked up to be, lads, I can send it back to Nvidia if I get one, or sell it on, make a profit. So it's not the end of the world me still trying to get one. I will attempt it, but it's very hard to get these cards. But yeah,
getting one on day one is going to be impossible.
Oh, but this is the thing about the stock availability they've got. That was one of the articles actually I've got here.
And limitations, wasn't it?
It's. I don't understand why they're doing this, and maybe it's a supply and demand thing, and it creates more hype and it drives share prices up. But then again, if you've got, do you not want to make money, Jansen? Like CEO of Nvidia, like why would you not make as many cars as you physically can to sell them and make more money?
Lowest stock launch in history, according to some partners, they've said.
Yeah, it's there's some people that are like some retailers online that are saying we're lucky if we'll get single digits in of a card, a 5090, and they don't know what they're going to get for 5080s yet. Some of these online retailers. So, and that's always been the case with a Founders Edition. There's always less of them. But the thing is, if I don't get a 5080 FE, I won't bother getting one at all. I'm not interested in a partner card. No. I've always been an FE card guy for the most part. They are the cheapest. They're vanilla. Sorry, on you go.
Well, I was just thinking, and now even more so, Trev. For the first time, I think the Founders cards are way better than what the partner cards are going to be. I mean, I think the 5090, especially, well, the whole thing is just an engineering marvel. It is truly exceptional. Is it good value? No, definitely not. It's not good value. But
especially the 5090.
Yeah, but especially when you look at it from a cooling and engineering standpoint, it is phenomenal. But I think the real story here is if you think back to the 1080 series, right, where they changed from the partners did the Founders Edition to Nvidia doing the Founders Edition, right? And then the Founders Edition has become better and better and better. And then at some point, EVGA said, you know what, not going to bother here because maybe they just can't compete. Maybe they're not making enough money.
Shaft them as well, Taro.
Yeah.
But now the Founders card is way better than the partner cards, way better. Unless they start now making the same design, the same 2-slot design, which Nvidia would be crazy to let them do that. But they're light years ahead, light years.
Here's the problem, Tal, right? Beforehand, even a few years ago, AIB partners so they basically, for those that don't know, they get the same chips that we do essentially, right? They get them stripped right back, of course. I don't know if it's a chip on its own or a chip and a board sent to them, but they then have to then buy them at full cost, more or less. They might get a small reduction if they buy them in bulk, but they're not making a lot of money in these cards, right?
No,
So they
virtually not.
will, exactly. So they don't sell and they don't rely on selling some of their own FE cards. They have their own FE cards, which cracks me up.
And this is why they have to do like the overclocked version so they can squeeze more money out of them. You know?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, but because they didn't get much money out of that to begin with, they're getting minimal profit on that. So they're relying on their top range coolers and models to actually try and get money out of this. Now, they'll do the same this generation, but those prices will go up because they're getting squeezed tighter. So I know for a fact that the top AIB partner cards will be better than FE cards, like their top coolers, their top designs. Of course, they will be. Cooling leads to better results, but you'll pay for it. And I'm not up for that.
I'm seeing $2,800 for the top end Asus card.
5090.
$2,800, yeah.
You're gonna see over 3,000. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think you'll see more, mate. I think that's cheap. I think you'll see more.
At least when it first comes out, it might settle down a little, but you're gonna see somebody
there'll be
over.
4 slots. There'll be 4 slots. There'll be massive. There'll be, and I just don't know why anyone would buy anything other than the Founders card these days. Other than if you just can't get it.
The thing is, if you go bigger like that, you've got if you go 3-4 slots again, some people don't mind that. It'll maybe be a little bit quieter because it's got a better cooler on it. But see if you're going to go to that expense and you're bothered about noise, just buy an FE card if you can get one, and take the the gubbins off it and then just water cool it. See, if you're that fussed about noise and stuff, if you're gaming at the bleeding edge and you're worried about noise and stuff, just take it off. I would never do that. I've never really been into water cooling GPUs. Not my thing. I'm not really into it. I mean, you'll deal with that, Tar, in your business there. You'll do. Well, I love it. Water cooling for people like piping and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah. So we do. We've got like not pre-built, but kind of we use the EK kits. That's probably the best way to describe it. So you've got like 3 different tiers of kits where you can buy just with a single radiator, 2 radiators, 3 radiators, and all the bits that come with it as well. Yeah, I love water cooling. It's not good value. It's like seriously expensive, and it doesn't really do anything for the performance anymore. It's just cool. I love it. It's just fun.
I'm lazy, Tal. That's all it is. Like, see if I said to you, listen, pre-configure, custom build this like all fancy dancy system for me, because I will be overhauling my system hopefully later this year. I hope, if not next. And I thought about water cooling, but I was like, realistically, no, because you don't get the same benefits that you've just mentioned there. It does look cool, but there's a little bit of maintenance in terms of changing the fluid every now and again. I am the type of guy that my PC sits behind my monitor, so you don't actually see it. So I don't want RGB anymore. If anything, I want a case that's black, that hides everything and is as quiet as it can be because it's got insulation built into it. That's what I'm looking for. But to each their own. To each their own. I'm not going to knock anyone that likes that kind of thing. To each their own. But yeah, so the 5090 essentially, surprise, surprise, is not bang for your buck. It really isn't. Some of the good things about it, though, it will be essentially a 4K 240 FPS type card because it's using its DLSS technology as well. There are impressive path tracing gains if that's your thing. I'm not really into that myself. Ray tracing I don't care about. If I've got extra performance to play with, I'll use it. But I don't mind cube maps because I don't care that it was artificially put in rather than being live generated on the spot. As long as it looks nice, I don't care about ray tracing. Of course, DLSS4 is a game changer for fidelity and performance. That's going to suit the high hertz FPS monitors for sure. The next gen AI performance and creator features are really promising on the card. And of course, as we touched on before, lads, the fact that it's 2 slots blows my tiny little brain. It's the most powerful card and it's only 2 slots. Now, some of the downsides, of course, bloody expensive. 575 watt GPU is a lot of juice, and I don't think I'd need to turn the heating on in my flat if I just ran that instead. So that could be an excuse for a lot of guys, women, if you're a gamer. Can I buy this, love? Can I buy a 5090? It's $2,000. No chance. We never have to turn the heating on again. All right, okay, you can buy 2. That's fine.
Yeah.
I have to game 24/7.
Yeah.
Yes,
Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or mine for coins or something when you're not using.
You just invest in a lot more jackets to wear. That's all.
Yes, the 30% gen on gen uplift is not as mind blowing as say 50%. And that's a good point when they put it like that, because 30% is decent, but when you've had bigger gains in the past, it's not as impressive as you think. So only get 5090 if you're bleeding itch.
There's a graph, Gray. I don't know if I put it into the chat, and I thought this was a really good one.
I can drop it on the edit.
It's the average performance of the 5090 versus the 4090, the 4080 Super, and the AMDs. And when you look at it like this, I don't know, man. Here's another hot take for you guys. I think this generation from Nvidia is going to be a swing and a miss. I really do. I think they're taking a massive risk that gamers are going to be like, yeah, I want these fake frames. I want that rather than real performance uplift. I think it's gonna bite them in the ass.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at those specs, though. Yes, it's not worth the money, mate. It's not worth the money, the 5090, but just look at the specs on its own, and it's mind-blowing. People are talking about this DLSS, and rightly so. 4.0 is cracking, but I'm interested as much, if not more so, in raw rasterization performance. I want to start off with a good base and then use DLSS after that. If you just look at the memory bandwidth, that's the main stat I myself look for in cards, right? It's the big main stat. And you're looking at 1,792 gigs a second, right, for the 5090. Then you compare that to, say, a 4080 that I have, or a 4080 Super. That's only 716. Or you go up to the 4090, it's 1,008. So in terms of raw power, the 5090 is mental, and you're looking to be gaming at 4K high frames if you buy this card. But I think you're mad to buy this card, to be honest with you. Anyway,
there's another one as well, Gray. You might want to look at in Discord. Did you see that one?
Yeah, the one that you put in there before. The blue one, right?
Yeah, the blue one.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get it up there fast enough. Okay. But go ahead, carry on.
It's anyway, yeah, in terms of like hardware news, that is pretty much most of the stuff I've got. Although you added this in for me, but I think this was you, Taro, but by all means you can mention it, because I did see the pricing of this at the moment. It's more than you thought it would be, the new AMD graphics card.
Yeah, can I do mine? Because it's just a very quick one. We talked about the incoming AMD card a couple of weeks ago, which was due to release this week, but then AMD put it back to, I think, late March.
Yeah.
Apparently, retailers have them in stock now. Retailers have had them in, but at the very last second, they pulled the rug and said, we're not releasing this because they wanted to look at the pricing. So I don't know if you remember from a couple of weeks ago, guys, we were kind of looking at the specs and thinking, you know what, this is going to be a good card at about $500, £500, maybe $450 will buy them some really good chunk of market share, right? They were allegedly going to be launching this at $900. $900. Oh.
And you said it was competing with 4090, which is your original price estimate was way more competitive. I was actually considering buying one. No, not 4090.
No, it was a 4080 Super. It was just lower than a 4080 Super.
Is that the top end card competing with not even the last top end card of last gen?
Yeah, but that's I think that was as expected from AMD. They said that they're not going to be competing at the top end for the foreseeable. But
you can't even compete with a 4090 or a 5080. Come on.
Yeah, but I mean, $900, that's way off the mark, guys. And I mean, yeah, it will make them lots of money if they sell any of them, but will they sell any of them? I don't know at that price. I don't think
It's
so.
disgusting, the price, mate. That is disgusting, that price. You want to be competitive. You've just admitted you're not going to be in at the top end. You're not competing with Nvidia in the top end. Your prices you were saying before were, you said about 500-600 or something at the most, and then that's a lot more competitive, isn't it?
It's the same price that they launched the Halo product from the last generation, so the 7900 XTX at $900, but then after various price cuts, it was selling for $650, and the performance is meant to be the same as the 7900 XTX. So are they really thinking that they could basically bring out the same card and charge the same price that they tried to charge before, and no one bought it at that price?
I'm very surprised, man.
I'm amazed at what they're trying to get away with.
I don't know what's going on in the GPU market, man. It's wild.
This is why people sitting back and not so sure they want to buy. I don't blame them.
People need to vote with their wallets. I think this generation, hard skip. Absolute hard skip for me, all round. AMD and Nvidia. You know what? Intel. Go on, Intel. They're crushing it. Intel are crushing it at the lower end. Their cards are brilliant value. Absolutely incredible value.
Expensive.
Yeah, the specs were quite good as well. So yeah, I think the last time we were on, we were actually saying that Intel might be the next step forward. They're not super good, they're not the greatest at best. But value wise, they are amazing, and I really hope that this means that Intel now can start penetrating that market and just talk some sense into AMD and Nvidia, because they've lost their marbles. Absolutely.
Yeah, when you're selling an Intel car for like $259, I mean, I get it's not the high end, but you're going like, wow, is that cheap?
Yeah, and it's good. It's good value for money.
Yeah. And let's face it, not everybody's like us, but they're going to be high end enthusiasts. They're going to be more middle of the road and lower end. So that works.
Oh, great! You're not really high end enthusiast. You've got the kind of peasant plus card, as I like to call it, 4070 Ti, 4070 Ti.
The only reason I got the 4700 Super was because at the time I had a 3070. Yeah, I had a 3070. And I only wanted to get the benefits of the Series 4 because it made sense, and the price was right, and I got a lot for my 3070 that I sold.
You got a good price. What did you pay for it again?
Yeah, a month's rent.
No. I forget what the cost was, but it was very reasonable. But the thing is, when I sold my 3070, I didn't think I was going to get as much as I got for it. So it paid for 60% of the new card. So can't beat that.
Nvidia second-hand cards are brilliant. I will get most of my money back for selling my 4080 Super for the price of a 5080.
For all the people that don't want to spend the money on the new ones, which is perfect.
Here's a question, guys. When do you think the last graphics card generation was really good value?
Oh,
is this the quiz? I'll go all the way back to the 1080, the 1080s,
yeah,
1080 Ti.
Yeah, that's
the one.
The 1080 Ti.
The Ti. Yeah.
That's the last time I can honestly, hand on heart, say that I think it was a good value product.
That is the best card I've ever owned. The Zotac 1080 Ti. It was a 3-slot, but it was a beast. I love that card. That was past. That was Nick to me to Trub's grandson. It's 4 people at least have had that, and it's still going strong.
And the 1080 Ti launched at $699. Look at the price of the Halo card now, $2,000.
It's a massive jump.
I had my 1080
Trev, put on your works thing, payroll.
No bother. Anyway, that's me for hardware news.
Alrighty, it switches over to me. I bring up the AI corner every once in a while on the podcast because we all find it fascinating what's going on with it. What I'm going to talk about at first may seem like, what does it have to do with gaming? But there's a point I want to make. I saw 2 articles, and this concerns the Hollywood, I guess, or the movie making or whatever. But let's remember something. When you have a game that's RPG, a good RPG game like God of War, Horizon, it's really a movie that has been turned into a game, essentially. So there's you hire actors, you have to sit there and create this tale, and it's whether or not it's still a movie of sorts. So when I started to look at some of these articles, I had mentioned before here that things are changing way faster than anybody thinks, and that they're going to be using AI sooner than anybody thinks. all of a sudden I read an article. This guy Paul Schrader, he's a script writer and a director in Hollywood. So he comes out and says this, and I was like, I don't know. I can't say I didn't believe this, but it was just interesting. So basically, his premise was he asked ChatGPT for film ideas. I mean, straight out of the box. That didn't really prompt it too much. He gave it, he gave ChatGPT a little something to work with, and just said, okay, go ahead and give me some original ideas for movies. And he said that they came out totally original in his words, entirely fleshed out. And then he goes, why should writers sit around for months when AI can provide one in seconds? So it's like, and then he goes, and he said, I'm stunned. He goes, I asked GPT for an idea, and he said that, and then he said he wants an idea based on, then he started quoting like famous directors. So not only did he want the ideas, but he wanted the AI to create ideas in the theme of particular writers or producers. So he asked, he goes, I want to see movie ideas based on Quentin Tarantino, on Ingmar Bergman, Rossellini, Scorsese, Capra, Ford, Spielberg. And this thing just starts spitting them out. And he said that they were so good and original. He says, why would I not want to use it? So there you're seeing somebody that is famous in the industry already telling you that, like, I'm using it, and it's going to produce all the stuff for me. And unless he's a complete fool, he knows what he's doing. He's produced movies, he's directed them, he's screenwrote them, and he's sitting there telling us that this stuff is just as good.
He's just talking about the concept, isn't he? He's just talking about the concept of the film.
He's talking about giving it a basic prompt, which isn't a whole lot, telling it the theme style, and then letting it go on original ideas. The emphasis is on original. Don't go back and look at old things and repackage them. I want original ideas. And he was just totally floored that this is actually working. And then, of course, there are people in the industry started texting him, and they wanted to know if he was okay or if he was sick or something. And then one of them even wrote to him and said, have you been hacked? Has your account been hacked? Because I read this. And he's going like, no, that was me. And then he actually had some people even coming to him telling him, stop promoting that shit, please. So I was like, okay. Now, if that wasn't the only thing, then I see another article, and there's a movie out there called The Brutalist, and it has an Academy Award nomination, right? It just came out that they used AI in the dialogue, and they used AI in some of the buildings at the end. And this is before the Academy knew about this, because they'd already nominated the film. So now there's a backlash as to whether they should boot the film out. It's not, but but anyway. So he admits that they used AI, and then I wanted to know, well, how did he use AI? So basically, the actors had to speak Hungarian, but they have to speak Hungarian with a particular accent to make it seem realistic. Well, they were so bent on it wanting to be realistic that they actually had the actors go in and have their voices cloned in AI, and then they went back on the words and accent that they were having problems with, and having AI use the clone voice to make it perfect, and then putting that back into the movie. So, I mean, you're talking about this is what everybody was saying is going to happen years from now, and it's already happening.
I think that's okay, though. So this second example, I feel like that's okay, because that's just tidying something up.
Oh,
I'm not
saying
ideas, that's crazy.
Right. I'm not saying good, bad, or indifferent. I'm really not. It's just that when people think that, it'll never happen, it's going to be years and centuries from now, like, it's already happening. Now, the only downside again to this is that that's going to put more writers out of work. No doubt about it. It's going to, I think, start a whole new trend in entertainment, both game wise, both movie wise, and many other things, where you're going to see people actually going out there and going like, it's totally original, no AI. It'll just be like, no AI.
Well, you need the AI detector then, don't you? We could call it the bullshit detector to try and detect the AI. The AI can detect the AI.
Believe me, when we get into the Secret Service and military aspect, they have programs to detect that. They're going to have to. You can't have stuff be that real and people just take it as rote like it really is. So I was just like, wow, man, that is moving. I was predicting how fast it would move. It's moving faster than that. And that's just like, it's just crazy. So when we were going back to talking about how it relates, when we were going back to talking about the prices of games going up and so forth, and that, it's costing these companies more to produce a game. Yeah, not for long. They're just going to sit there and prompt the AI to write a whole damn RPG script and basically just do some the other thing that people forget is you can tweak with AI. So if AI puts out something that is pretty good but not quite there, you just go back in on the parts that aren't quite there and then reprompt the AI so that it learns and then it corrects it, and that's it. And you have a whole script for a movie without ever paying a writer a penny. And that's the bad side of it, but it's going to happen.
Disney's been doing that for ages now.
Hey, and let's be honest, right? This is what the big companies want AI for, right? It's just to get rid of wages. People, they don't want people; they want results,
right?
And they don't want to pay for them.
Because they can make a movie far cheaper. But that's going to translate. I believe I could be wrong about this, but I think that's going to translate into games first before movies. They're going to come out with whole RPGs and other games that are going to be made 50% AI at least, and you won't know the difference.
Every time you say RPG, for whatever reason, I'm thinking of the rocket-propelled grenade. I don't know why. I've got a violent mind tonight. I don't know.
But that's in other games, no. But it's just I don't know. Like I said, I'm not saying good, bad. I don't like seeing people lose jobs. That part is bad.
Well, should you keep them in a job for the sake of keeping them in the job? Then, if the AI can do it really, really well, if not better, I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
I don't want to see people lose jobs either, but it's like, we'll just let you keep your job just for the sake of keeping your job, even though we could save money and this tool could do a better job than what you do.
Well, they need people to tell the AI what to do.
Yeah, true.
So there you go.
No, you. One thing
AI
I see
support officer. There you go.
No, you're right though. You are right, because I saw there's this one particular fellow on YouTube that I like, because he tends to follow all the different programs out there when they upgrade them, what the changes are from the previous version, and what they can do. And the guy is really good at prompting. So I was taking a look at the prompting. You do have to have a certain talent for prompting. I also think though that this is going to sound funny, but eventually they're going to have AI do the prompting for other AI. And you won't even have to worry about that anymore either. I know your head hurts, but I'm telling you, that's coming too. It's coming around the pike, and stuff. But so it's amazing. The technology in itself is amazing that it can do all that. And as I see more and more of these things come out, I'm already seeing mini movies, 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute long. And I'm seeing way less, mistakes, artifacting, and errors than ever before. It's mind-boggling. Anyway, I threw that out on the AI corner, and we'll talk about that now. In relation back to again, kind of in relation to gaming, but AI considering it. This article just came out, I believe, yesterday. And the title of it is Nvidia stock price crashes after new DeepSeek AI model emerges. So what's that about?
I'm glad you're bringing this up, Gray, because I always want to talk about this. This is fascinating. And it involves Nvidia crashing as well.
This is very fascinating. So apparently a Chinese, of course it's Chinese, company came out with an AI model that can do things for far less money. But essentially, I'll read this to you a little bit. It says a company's share price, we're talking about Nvidia, dropped by 17%. Wiping out a $500 billion market cap. Gone.
The largest drop in any day.
A single day trading loss of a single company in history. But here's the funny thing: the biggest loss previous to this was also Nvidia at $279
that was just
billion.
A few months ago, right?
Yeah. So you're saying, okay, so they lost $279 billion and now another $500 billion. So you're talking about it's close to $1 trillion. Because of just this AI.
They did both at the same time.
Yeah,
$1 trillion.
Yeah. So apparently, this Chinese AI startup DeepSeek launched a new model that they're only calling R1, I guess for now, and they claim that it's far cheaper than any other model out there, including OpenAI's O1. They said the fear from investors is it seems that the AI companies may not actually require as much computing power as it was once believed. That's the important part.
Yeah,
so they don't think that it's going to need the kind of computing anymore. This, in turn, could have spooked investors and sent Nvidia's stock price down. So if they've actually been able to figure out how to do it without the computing power, Nvidia's better just take their money and bank it, because they're going to have a problem.
Great. They're doing it with. I know you mentioned it briefly. They're doing it with not only less GPUs in the competition, but far less advanced, powerful GPUs. And
Right.
they used a lot of these before the embargo started coming in from the States. And part of me doesn't blame them. But listen, I don't want to get this shouldn't be a political show at all.
Be careful.
I kind of don't blame them for, like, they're getting banned from doing pretty much anything. So I don't blame them for innovating. And credit where credit's due.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's competition.
Yeah.
You know, if you can do it cheaper, then you do it cheaper. Why? You can't go sit there and go like, well, I'm sorry, you can't come out with that.
I think people are questioning whether they did do it cheaper, though, because they're saying something like 5.5 million.
Yes, I read that, and they said that they're waiting for the real figures to come out. Some of them are claiming that they say, this Chinese company on their paper they put out, said that they trained the RI at a cost of 5.6 million, which compared to training the OpenAI that we have here, it's ridiculously cheap, because you're talking over here in the hundreds of millions of dollars,
hundreds of millions easy,
and this is 5.6. So they're saying they're going to wait and see if they can find out some of the real costs. Now, some are claiming that the real costs are going to be just as much. I doubt it. But here's the thing: even if it's not as cheap as 5.6 million, it's obviously cheap enough that it's sent people into a tailspin. So even if you save 25%, investors will jump on it, let alone the fact that you're saving 50 or 70%.
Great. Did you notice the part about it only being up to date up to the end of 2023? It was trained based on models up to and information based up to the end of 2023. I don't know how accurate that is, and if that's going to be a problem, because at least the other competitors are always being updated constantly. So there is
we're gonna know a lot more as this comes out, but we'll see. See, now they mentioned at the end of the article, they said that some expert believes that the training costs for this new AI is higher to 1 billion, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, how did you go from 5.6 million to 1 billion? Something's messed up.
Well, look at the Stargate project that Trump came up with along with Musk and his cronies. Of trying to invest 500 billion via all the tech companies into AI over the next several years, which is a good thing. A small tangent. I volunteered. I'm interested in AI stuff as well, like Gray. So this was introduced to my workplace, Gemini, which has been out for a little while, but it's getting introduced into my workplace, the Google's AI. And I've been using it a little bit. And I said to my gaffer at the time, my boss, I went, listen, I've used that a little bit. It's kind of cool, and it helps me out a little bit. So I would like to be the advocate for the team in this and talk about it and be the go-to person. Put more work on my shoulders because I'm a bloody idiot, guys. And he said, right, okay. And I'm actually just trying to get more money and promotion and stuff like that, But I thought, let's show the emphasis. Let's see what happens. And so I'm taking on more of that work there because I'm interested in it. We'll see what happens. It means I can maybe chew the fat more with Gray and other people about the AI stuff and I'm interested at first and foremost when it comes to gaming, but I don't think my employers are somehow. That could be a good excuse, couldn't it? Why are you gaming at work, Trev? DLSS. I'm testing it out. Honestly, Gaffer, it's for work. I promise.
Yep, totally for work.
Yeah. You have to test every aspect.
Every frame. It could take hours.
Yeah, it's a big ratio to get through. So
I'm gonna have to monitor that. That'd be brilliant. But yeah,
I'll be going like, where's Travis? Well, don't bother him. He's still 10 hours into the latest game. Well, how long is he going to be? Probably another 100 hours.
Yeah,
I've used it. Tara, I've used it to briefly answer your question. I've used it a little bit for pod stuff. So sci-fi, for example, I haven't done as much stuff on it recently. The other channel that I do like sci-fi and stuff with Gray, like reviews and stuff, called Capes and Phasers. I will use that for, say I want to talk about, it's a Starship special or something, I want to talk about Defiant, right? So I'll actually ask Gemini or ChatGPT or both of them to compare notes, but give me the breakdown of this Starship, right? And I won't take it verbatim, copy paste, because it can make mistakes. You look like a mug. You want to proofread it. and then you'll take bits out or you alter things, and I'll use that as a basis. Or, for example, what I do is when I'm doing stuff with Gray as well, and I'm putting in the YouTube notes, and I'm looking for a synopsis of the episode, I'll actually ask Gemini, give me a brief synopsis on it, and I literally copy and paste that at the top there to give people an idea of what it's about, and it's accurate there. So I don't think I need to tick the AI button at YouTube for that one, but I might have to soon enough.
I use it at work, mainly because I was trained. They put me on a training, one of my old bosses. So they got me doing the Copilot for work.
Oh, Copilot, interesting.
Yeah, Copilot,
and pretty much, after I did that, they wanted me to do a seminar, talking about Copilot and all this stuff. Like
How'd you find it, Matt? How'd you find it?
It was quite good. It's very limited, sort of thing. I think the price of it was a bit ridiculous, especially for a corporate situation.
Yeah,
it's Microsoft.
Yeah, absolutely. And, they've only have like 3 licenses, and they didn't even give me one. Can you believe it? So,
What? Okay.
I know. So I was like, well, I've got my own Copilot, on the browser. It's free for everybody to use. It does exactly the same thing. So pretty much been using that. And yeah, I mean, I use it for letters. Like if something has gone a bit off on one of my users or one of my clients' bosses are getting a bit iffy, then I'll go, okay, Copilot, let's sort this out. Let's tell him what to do. So sort of thing. So I'll get Copilot to do the letter, and I'll just send that sort of thing after reading it.
Don't rely on it, mate. Don't rely on it.
No, you have to double check. Yeah, absolutely, because it will put in wrong information, which I've tested as well, sort of thing. I've given it boundaries to go through, and it'll pick up things that are brought in. I mean, it's better than ChatGPT in that sense. Like,
yeah. I wonder if we ranked them where they would be. That's interesting. You said that.
Yeah, I mean, I've only just recently touched Gemini, as you said, which the.
Did you buy it a drink first?
Oh, I tried. Yeah, it says no. I want some chips first. Yeah, feed me first.
Chips.
Input. Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah, it is quite versatile.
So did Gemini ask you to see its tensor cores? That's really
Oh yeah. Oh no.
I found a good use for it recently. I find that I don't like using AI for creation of content, but the good use I found recently was me and my girlfriend have just got some cats, and we were looking over the language on the insurance documents. And, like most insurance documents, it's just jargon, right? Yeah. So we were just wondering, is it covered, or what does it cover? So we asked ChatGPT. We put it in, pasted it in, and said, could you please translate this to non-jargon? Could you make it easy for us to read? And most importantly, could you tell us if it's covered for this particular thing or not? And it was brilliant.
That's very good. That is a very good use. Yeah.
So I'm not sure I'm there with the creation of content yet, because it gets it wrong a lot. But like looking at things and analysing and then breaking it down in a different way for you, I found that to be excellent.
It should be used for double checking. It should be using for. I think the things that Matt and I have just mentioned are useful. Like it helps me with a synopsis, or it helps me with some stats that I can pull from and add to and edit and format. It'll help out with like emails and shit to people. You get it built into your iPhone as well, like when and Samsung phones as well. It'll summarize your notifications are coming through. Apple had to pull one of those facilities out because it was getting them into a lot. I won't touch too much on it. Go and Google it for yourself. They were getting them into a lot of trouble about some of the summarizations it was doing. Like, what the hell? Who died? What? So it's a whole thing. I mean, we could go on for ages, Greg. We best not.
It gets to the point now where I can talk to my phone, and both Alexa, Gemini, and Siri all answer me at the same time.
That sounds like hell.
You're having a foursome with 3 AIs. They're all jealous AI ladies.
But to Tarl's point, though, that's kind of like how if I use it, Tarl, that's kind of like what I'm saying too. I like its ability to be able to summarize like a 15-page article that you don't really want to go through.
And it just goes back with one word and says, shite. Okay, I won't read it anymore.
I don't need to read it. But they'll seriously, a couple paragraphs or whatever, even if it's a page or two, it's better than 15, and it breaks it all down.
Yeah.
And I think on the search functions, it does really well, because if you say something, at least as far as, I guess, Gemini on the Google side of things, when you ask it, it comes up very quickly with a whole bunch of different stuff. But
at the top,
But what it does, though, is that it also includes the link right next to what it says as your point of reference if you don't want to,
It makes Google searches a lot better than they used to be.
Yeah.
Before, you used to have to go through several links to actually find what you wanted, but now if you type in a question to Google search and the AI result comes out at the top, it's not always right, but it's more correct than it is incorrect. And it's got the link to go and double check.
I really think the idea of putting that little link there is very important, because if you don't want to believe it, or let's say you think, oh, that's cool, but I need to know more about it, well, then just click on the link and read it yourself.
Yeah.
Trev, the thing you've just said there makes me really scared for the internet now, because I find myself Googling things, right, and reading the AI part and thinking, okay, yeah, that's a pretty good response. And of course, that's what Google wants you to do. They want you to just read the AI part that they've got, and for you to stay on Google and not go elsewhere, because then your eyes are on their product and not somebody else's. But they're essentially saying that don't use the rest of the internet. The rest of the internet doesn't need to exist.
If it's accurate, who cares? If it's the information you're looking for, are you going to lose sleep over that?
Okay, right. Here's my point, right? AI is regurgitating all of the stuff that exists on the internet, right?
Yes.
But if people's eyes aren't going to look at the stuff that's on the internet, nobody's going to make the stuff on the internet anymore, which means that AI then has nothing to train itself on.
Oh, my head hurts. I need to go lie down now.
This goes back to make the input.
This honestly is the dawn of the death of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, okay, God, I sound like a fucking Grim Reaper, and I've got my scythe and a black hood.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're into it now.
But seriously, think about it. Like, take a minute just to think about what the end result of this is. If people are no longer going to actual web pages and they're just looking at Google's AI response, who's going to bother making web pages anymore?
Well, it'll be the old stuff that just remains in, so it's maybe pulling from older information that's already there rather than new content.
Yeah,
because,
and then everything's out of date, and then everything's bad, and then you've got the AI stuff reading from AI stuff, which then gets regurgitated.
AI
trained on AI. I worry for the.
I got to be
for
thinking
the
that a lot of people that think about this kind of stuff, and you're right, Taro, is that they're obviously trying to go through their algorithms to prevent some of that from happening. Or having an AI realize through an algorithm that it's talking to another AI or whatever, and maybe not to do it that way. It's the problem is it's still in the infancy, but no infant has ever grown so fast. So it's almost kind of like taking a baby that should be 1 year old right now, and now the baby's 10, but it didn't learn everything yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, it's already 10 years old. It's like,
we're at a very interesting time in tech, and it's going to be interesting to see where this AI revolution leads us. I'm open-minded.
I think we're all open-minded. I think that's our nature.
But I also do worry that there are going to be a lot of casualties along the way.
I'm more worried about, if you're going to get into the worry part, then I'm more worried about the AI, attacking infrastructure and other things in countries and stuff. You got to worry more about that.
We managed to go almost the whole bloody AI debate before we had heavily hinted on Skynet. Come on, lads, Jesus.
Here's the thing though with AI, you don't need the Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's inevitable, right? At some point, the computers will say, "We're better than you humans. Bye bye now."
They need to have self-awareness, which I don't think will ever come. That's the thing. How do you
really? You don't think that'll ever come?
Or if it doesn't come, not for a long time, mate.
There are
all
people
that needs to happen is a new way of computing, quantum computing or whatever.
There we go. And it looks like it looks like an evil. Have you ever seen a quantum computer? It looks like a chandelier, it looks like a high-tech chandelier. It looks like a Skynet, HQ, at the start of it. It looks evil. You're right. You screwed us, mate. You screwed us.
I want them to create something so it can morph into different things. So you can have it morph into your favorite comedian.
Come on, one step at a time. It needs to be self-aware before it turns into a transformer, man. Come on. Right.
Well, what you need to do is like Isaac Asimov said years ago. You programmed a robot with certain commands that they can't go against. That is one, don't hurt a human ever.
Mm-hmm.
Two,
there's laws.
Three basic robotics laws. Now, of course, that's easier said than done when you're doing it in a book.
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. But you would think somebody would do that. But then there's always some idiot that's scruples don't matter to them, and they'll do whatever they want.
There's more than one of those around at the moment.
Oh hell yeah, of course, there always is. Whenever it's like anything else, except that the only difference with this new technology is that it's happening much faster than I think it should be. Sort of. I don't know if I mean it quite like that.
Yeah, that's the worrying part.
Exactly, because before, I mean, all through the centuries, new technology comes in, it puts somebody's job out, and then it actually creates more jobs. There was an article that was really interesting I read not too long ago, and they predicted that AI is going to destroy, I think they said, 33 million jobs, but create 75. So the net is 50 million new jobs.
Yeah, it's like when cars were invented, right? And you got the guy who makes horseshoes is saying, "I'm going to be put out of a job." It's like, yeah, okay, but you can train to make cars. It's going to happen.
Exactly. And there's still horses out there
driving cars.
Yeah.
Now horses are expensive. If you want to ride a horse, give me that gold-plated shoe, man. Put it on my horse. Thank you very much. Anyway, we will be talking about this more and more and more as time goes on. So I guess we'll move along. So this next one, I don't know who put it in because it says all. So was that you, Trev? Okay, go ahead.
Yes,
so you can lead off on this.
I'll read it. I'll read this article, but it's not a long article, and then I want you guys' opinion on it. I think I know what it'll be anyway because I'm in the right company, but nevertheless,
no problem, Matt.
Does he need to shoot off? Yeah, I understand, mate. He's a busy chappy, so
don't worry, I'll edit this out. No one will ever know.
This was titled "PC Gaming Brought in Significantly Higher Revenue Than Consoles in the Last Decade," right? Which surprised me, but I'm also I'm happy about the situation. Goes on to say that PC gaming has dominated the mainstream market over the past decade, as revealed in a news report. Traditionally, video game markets have always favoured console platforms in terms of product launches, which we know is true to an extent, given that the PC version often comes years after the mainstream release. GTA is a perfect example of that. It seems, though, however, that PC gaming has managed to compete in the gaming segment tremendously. And the report goes on to mention, has revealed that PC gaming consumer revenue share has grown by up to 20% in recent years, while console revenue has stagnated, showing the interest around both platforms. Now, there's a little graph here as well, which Gray can put in later if he wants to or not. It mentions here that PC is a big bright spot, adding 65% more content spend than living room consoles since 2011, and 225% more than combined console, or $30 billion in total. Now, it doesn't break down why, because maybe it doesn't 100% know why, but that's why I wanted to talk to you guys about it briefly, because my take on it, my opinion is, while it surprises me that this has happened, although I'm happy about it, we were touching about this before about the price of games, and Tara and I were thinking, we're not surprised if they put the price up. Gray's like, no, I don't think they should put the price up, and there are opinions that can be both correct and incorrect at the same time. But if you look at PC games, for example, right in the UK, a AAA title is £70 on console, $80 in the States. On PC in the UK, the highest a PC game usually ever is £50 or $60. Now, that's the highest. You'll get them cheaper. 100% you'll get them cheaper. And I think that's one of a few reasons why it's more competitive. Gray and I have said this for ages. The value you get from a PC, yes, you have to spend up front to get it. That you can get good deals. Go to Tar's website; he'll sort you out on a good gaming PC for a reasonable price. You'll get cracking deals there, and the amount of cheaper games you get early access games, and I know consoles get early access games as well now, but that's more of a recent thing. PCs have had that for a while. One of the best games I've ever played is Enshrouded. I paid something like £22 for that, and fantastic value. You just don't get that same value on console, and if you do, it's years later in one of their sales. I know there's more overheads with console games. I know that, like, get the whole making the games in the first place with manufacturing of the discs, which has not been a thing for PC for a while. You get a lot of good deals and sales and keys online a lot cheaper for PC. That's despite piracy still being a problem, or a solution, depending how you look at it. So, boys, what do you make of that one? Take your turns.
Go ahead, Tarl.
I don't
assume
know.
you're happy with it.
Yeah, no. Obviously, I'm very happy from my own personal kind of business perspective. I want to see the PC market grow massively. I don't know. It's just a bit strange to me, I guess, that why is console stagnating, or why is console going this way? That's what I'm kind of thinking in my head. I saw a video just the other day. I think someone was talking about Microsoft. They've been saying for a long time that Microsoft could come out of the console making business and just be, software publishing only. And I think consoles might not even exist in 20 years because, they're basically PCs now, just small PCs, right?
Yeah, we were talking about
Xbox.
Yeah, when you get something, I think the new Steam machine that people have been talking about, or Steam OS, is going to be a real big game changer. And I think it might blur the lines a lot more between console and PC, so that perhaps in the future, maybe, 10 years, there's just a single appliance that sits underneath someone's TV in the front room, and they can use their keyboard and mouse if they want. They can use their joypad if they want, but it essentially does both roles, console and PC. And that's kind of where my mind goes when you talk about stuff like this.
Yeah,
it's funny when you mention about the consoles being PC, because that's been an argument that's gone on for a few years. But I think more so now, it's almost like the console, you might as well just call it a computer. They just wrap it into a different design. So
it's just custom-made PC parts.
Yeah, it's a kind of blended all in now.
It's x86 architecture, which is fundamentally the backbone of PC architecture, so that's why.
All it needs is for someone to create the software that allows that kind of, cross-platform type situation. That could be Valve. Really do think so.
Or Microsoft, because they're saying Xbox will be. It's not necessarily going to be a physical box now. It's a brand. Anything can be an Xbox, which is genius, really.
That's the new brand. Yeah, I saw that the other day as well. That is good. I think they're going in the right direction. I really do.
I think the other thing with consoles, to me anyway, is that most people that don't want to fuss with the PC, in other words, they don't want to keep up on this and that, or they don't want to have to change something or whatever, they go right to console because it's easier. You just turn it on and you play. So for those kind of people, and there's nothing wrong with that, for those kind of people, consoles are always going to be the way to go, because they don't want to do anything different.
That's the obstacle that needs to be overcome, isn't it? For that kind of utopian
and it's a convenience factor. But for us, and not even people maybe that are high end like us, but even people in the middle or even low, they don't have a problem with wanting to get a graphics card to do something better than the console can. They like to do a little tweaking, and I'm only talking about the ones that don't massively tweak things like we do sometimes. So they're just the ones that want to do some basic tweaking. They can't do it on a console, but they can mess with it on a PC. And again, whether we always seem to forget sometimes that because we're such enthusiasts, that the major market in PC gaming is the middle and lower end. And they sell more video cards to those people than they do to people like us. And stuff. And so that's the majority of the market. So if the market continues that way, where people are getting into, mid-level gaming PCs, then I can see it actually growing larger than that.
Great. I think people are just fed up of paying the amount of money that they need to for console games on day one, and they don't reduce that quickly usually, because the amount of money look at a new console game, $80, right, £70, give or take. You could go to PC and get that cheaper. You know that a lot of money goes into getting the game out on disc, and that's the thing that console games got going for it until it leaves the market completely, and that's physical thing. Media is still a thing for them. A lot of people keep physical media. I'm not fussed about that. For example, I would get GTA 6, play the hell out of it, and then maybe consider selling it because I want to get my money back.
It's mainly collectors. That's what's funny about it. All the physical media has gone to collectors now.
Question for you guys, though. Why is the console version of a game more expensive than the PC version? I actually don't know the answer to that.
No, it does cost a bit more to make the actual physical disc, but not much more, mate. It's pretty small.
That's
but they're not going physical disc as much anymore.
It's digital, right? So, why is the difference? Why is that they're massive? $70 versus $50. What is that?
They can charge it
just because they can.
Yeah. They want to get people to go to digital because they will get more of that money. If you think about it, right, Tar, you want to buy a PlayStation game, right? So you've got the disc there, or you've got the PlayStation Store. You buy the disc for $70, right? What does actually Sony get from that game if it's a third party? They maybe get a small percentage, if anything. Maybe they don't get anything. But if you buy it through the PlayStation Store, Sony will take 30% of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
no, for sure. But I guess I mean more the digital PC version of the game versus the digital PlayStation, for instance, version of the game. What's the cost difference there? And I think Gray's nailed it. It's just they charge more because people on the console will pay more.
They can, yeah.
Well, now we've been used to not having recording and stuff. So
we're used to not having physical media and PCs for a long time. I mean, I do just about vaguely remember discs on PCs and whatnot, but it's not a thing. I've not plugged in my DVD drive for a long time.
I could pull down.
Well, it's just you could take a leaf from the PC book massively, I think. So, but I just wanted your guys' opinion because I found it an interesting one. It pleasantly surprised me. I didn't expect that at all. Because why do you think Rockstar are making the console versions beforehand, before the PC version? Because it's more profitable. But this article is just putting the kibosh on that to an extent. So
it says that the market is down, but what's the size of those markets? I don't know that either. I'm assuming the console market is massively more.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly. Otherwise you wouldn't be getting Rockstar doing what they're doing and making that decision, which doesn't happen often, but sometimes they do that. Well, Gray just froze in a kind of really weird angle there. That was hilarious. I don't know if you
over here.
You look like you had a happy face. Let's put it that way. I'm conscious of time as well, Gray, if it's all right. I'm just going to jump on with some of the gaming news there. After that cool article. So we've got a couple of things to mention as well. There's no point in playing the trailer at the moment because Gray will add it in later. But there was a Xbox developer conference recently, and they showed 4 games. I cannot be bothered with any of them bar Doom the Dark Ages. Maybe that whole bloody Southern States in the Swamp game, whatever the hell that's called, Gray. Maybe he's a good laugh. Yeah, but I could not be bothered with the rest of them. Ninja Gaiden, the new Ninja Gaiden game would be pretty cool. Not my cup of tea.
Not mine either. That's the one I wouldn't bother.
Yeah, and they've shadow dropped one of the old Ninja Gaiden games. Was it 2 or something?
I think on future podcasts, maybe the next one we'll talk about the other 3 games. But obviously, the thing people were waiting for was Doom. They're all just like, yeah.
Well, the thing is, right, the thing that surprised me the most, and I'm pleasantly surprised, I wish this would happen more. This is the thing, right? id Gaming announced this game coming out. They said last year it was coming out. It was only a matter of months ago they said this was coming out, right? Was it the Summer Games Fest or the Autumn Games Fest? I don't know. It wasn't that long ago.
Right.
And then just days ago, they say, right, this game they did say it was coming out in 2025. You think the worst. You think, oh yeah, second half of the year. Yeah, probably. We get it before autumn, fall. Great. Bonus. No. May 15th. May 15th. How close? I wish more developers would do this. Just keep it closer to your chest. You need so many months in advance for marketing, build up hype. I get that. And that's what you've got here. Less than 6 months. Love it. So May 15th, it will come out on Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5 and PC. Game Pass as well on day one, which is amazing. Players who pre-order any edition of the game will get the Void Doom Slayer skin at launch. which is, I'm sure Gray could dig a picture. In fact, he'll just probably play the trailer because the trailer's cool. But there are different versions of the game. Of course there are. And we touched on this before. About different versions of the game. The default will probably still be £70, but there will be digital versions and there'll be a collector's edition. Now, the collector's edition is for enthusiasts, and I don't have a problem with them making a profit from this, Gray, but it pisses me off because it's a massive profit. You're going up from $80 to $200, right? Massive increase. And yeah, you get little digital bits and bobs, but the main thing you're getting is a 12-inch Doomslayer statue, which is cool. But I mean, 12 inches is not. It's not as if it's huge, you know. So
that's not what my girlfriend says.
Yeah, you're still happily in a relationship, so let's put it that way.
Like a Carl on the bottom, he goes, no to pre-orders.
If you think of the digital bits and bobs, the goodies that they include, say that's the $100 special, right? Because you get premium editions before you get the collector's edition. Say it's $100, so $20 up, you get digital bits and bobs in there, right? You're then marking the game up approximately 50% for a bloody 12-inch statue. Get a grip. Yeah. I mean, I want it. I want the Doomslayer statue, but I am not paying that price for it. What's your thoughts, Gray?
I thought that the price that when they charged that kind of money and they gave you the Doomslayer helmet, because that was cool and it was big and it was
$200 as well.
Exactly. And so those are impressive stuff. The hammer that you got from Thor, nice big thing, very nice, neat looking, worth it because of what it is. But then why? That's the only thing that disappoints me in Doom. Nothing else does. But that, all of a sudden you went from the helmet and other cool stuff, shrunk down to a 12-inch statue, and I'm like, what? Now, if it was like a 2-foot or 3-foot high statue, now we're talking. I mean, that'd be a nice size one. That's cool. Almost like in the video, and you'll see when we do the edited version, there was a Doomslayer statue in Id's offices, and that thing looked like about 5 foot tall. Wow, I'd like to have that one. That would look great.
I'd pay good money for that as well. It would be worth it.
Oh my god, I would take it and put it right behind me.
There is different versions of the game, right? The premium edition is probably like the digital Billy Big Balls edition, as I like to call it. Obviously, the base game, early access up to 2 days before launch, digital art book, digital soundtrack. I hate the digital things, I really do. Divinity Slayer skin, Divinity Dragon skin, Divinity Atlan skin. That's the big kaiju bloody Megazord thing that he gets in, which is cool. Yeah. And the good thing is it's campaign DLC. So DLC has been confirmed for this game, which is great. So that does make it slightly more appealing. Plus, if you get the collector's edition, you get a 12-inch statue as well. So I don't think it's worth that. But I mean, I know Gray and I will be playing that day one on Game Pass. I wouldn't buy an actual copy of this myself. I would just play it on Game Pass. I don't need to own it.
Although you might feel different about Game Pass, but if it is,
no, of course, yeah.
I think the thing with these super expensive, like super kind of premium special editions, where you get, like you said, the statues and things like that. Like one person will look at that and say, "Oh my god, I would never pay that. That's ridiculous." And then someone who's like really into it and is a collector, they'll be like, "This is amazing. I want this so bad." And actually, the money's fine. And I think I'm okay with that. You know, it will appeal to some people. It will definitely not even be like a millisecond of thought for most people. But
I mean, if you want it that badly, you're gonna get it. It's just that I think they gave you better stuff on previous editions.
They did.
The 12-foot statue. They should have made it at least 12 inches, not 12 foot. That would have been good.
It's never good value, is it really? But
no, but
it's always.
But you're getting less and less value. I mean, come on, at least double the size of the statue.
They tend to sell out as well, Greg. They only make a limited number of them so that they don't lose money, and that's why they market them up as high as they do, so they know they will sell them up. So they will sell them. They will.
But that's good, though, because if they started selling them on the shop, like, a year after someone had paid, £200 for their, fancy version, then that would be out of order.
It's 100% it would.
See, that's why they should have come up with a 24-inch statue, and then they sell the 12-inch to the rest of us. See?
Yeah.
Everybody wins.
That's the way to do it.
Doom the Dark Ages, people. I'll be looking forward to that for sure when it does come out. There is, I mean, the good thing about this game, just touch on it briefly, is they are actually bringing out more customizations for it in terms of you can actually slow down the game or speed it up through individual toggles within the sets, which I've never seen a game do before, which is brilliant. I like it on absolutely mental speed and craziness anyway. It's Doom for it. But if you don't want that, then you can slow it down, which is nice to have. It's a little bit different from prior Doom games. And I mean, it's a good thing to include it, I guess, Gray, but I think you and I would probably have it more on what the last Doom game was, to be fair, Eternal. Because we prefer that, don't we?
But to be honest with you, and Doom was not the only game. There was a couple of games in the last, I'm going to say 10 years, only a couple here and there, and I can't remember what they were, that also had something similar to that, where you can set some of the parameters and stuff. Personally, I think every game, well, I'm not going to say every game, but I think lots of games should have the choice of being able to be customized if you want. Because what I would do is, to me, it would sell more games because you play it as it was meant to be played. And then if you want to go back and do a replay, now you have all the fun in the world. You can go like, I'm going to see if I can beat that guy slowing it down to 50%. Or I'm going to see if I can beat that guy if I speed it up by 200%. You would be you would be playing the game over and over again to challenge yourself by able to changing all this stuff. And I think more games should do that.
Longevity and playability.
Yeah. More games ought to do that. You don't get that kind of stuff unless somebody makes a cheat trainer or something for it and you want to mess with it, and stuff. But they should always include that in the game. I think that's dynamite.
Shouldn't be too hard to do either, right? It's just like tick boxes.
Yeah. I can't. And these are all slider switches, so they sit there and let you just slide it back and forth to however much you want.
Yeah,
I'm like, So, so I can't wait to see what happens. I'll play through it normal, but then I want to go back and pick. The one thing I liked about Doom on the last two Dooms, once you complete the game, you can go back and play any one of the missions you want. With all the weapons you already picked up. Well, now
it doesn't make you start again.
Right. So now the customization really comes in, because now after I have all the weapons and I got all the super duper things, I can go back and say, well, I want to play that mission because that was a cool mission, but now I'm gonna mess with this stuff. And then you start speeding it up, slowing it down, giving you less damage, more damage, and you can have a whole thing. I mean, I think that's wonderful.
It really is. It really is. I'm looking forward to the game. Bring it on. And not too long to wait as well. So, yes. I touched on this last pod, but it's pretty much been made official now. And that's your man at Xbox, Phil Spencer, pretty much confirming that there will be a lot of support for Switch 2 when it comes out. He is going in hard on Switch 2. This new policy they've got of not really having exclusives as such is probably a breath of fresh air and will make them a lot of money, because Microsoft, first and foremost, are a software company before they're ever.
I think it's genius.
You could actually say that their hardware most of the time has actually been pretty shit or average at best. Flopped many times. Stick to the software, lads. But yeah, so like some of the traditional, some of the classics will probably come out there. Don't be surprised if you get a Halo Master Chief Collection there. Don't be surprised if you get a Microsoft Flight Simulator. And that briefly blew Gray's mind until I had to tell him that on current platforms at the moment, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is only about a 16 gig download because it uses the cloud a lot, so you don't need that much power. But you'll get a lot of these classics coming out. Pretty much the next COD will come out on Switch 2 as well, which is great. I mean, Nintendo platforms always used to have CODs up to the Wii U, so it'd be nice to see them go back to that. And this is pretty much confirmed in Phil Spencer exchanging emails with Furukawa-san. I'm sorry if I pronounced his name incorrectly. But he is basically the CEO of Nintendo, a new CEO of Nintendo. So I don't know, why did they put San on the end of it, or Son, sorry. Is it San? Son? Is it like a respectful thing, isn't it? They put that on the end of a lot of Japanese words.
If it's SAN, it is usually.
SAN, yeah. They put that on. Does everyone get that title at the end?
I don't think everyone does. But okay. But I do believe, if I remember right, and I could be totally wrong, it is some kind of a respect type title. They tag
it's a very respectful type culture, isn't it? Like the bowing at the head and all that stuff, So, but yeah, so a lot of news and not a lot of time there. So we're talking about, this is all linked together. US physical game spend has halved since 2021. Box game spend is down more than 85% since its peak in 2008, according to Circana data, which is that's pretty important in the States.
I don't think that's a
Circana data.
surprise, really.
I'm surprised it's only 50.
Yeah, well, it's basically the downfall of physical media. The question will be if next gen consoles like the PS6 and the new Xbox have physical media included, like a facility to play them, especially with LG and Sony saying they're going to actually stop making the discs, and LG and others stopping to make the actual hardware for Blu-rays. So I think the new gen consoles, like the new gen in a couple of years' time, 2-3 years' time, will have it, but it'll be like you have with the PS5 Pro, where by default it's a digital console, but then you have to go out and buy the disc drive, and they can mark that up at a higher price. I mean, that's what I had to wait ages to get the disc drive for the PS5 Pro to bolt it on. It looks a bit uglier with this little bulge sticking out, but I want it there for the odd game I will play live, because you'll get secondhand games so much cheaper if they're physical. So, do you boys think you'll see physical media in the next gen of consoles?
No, I think it's all gonna disappear soon. I think what could happen, which would really be ironic and funny, is that everything will be digital, right? And it'll cost whatever, the $80 or $80, and then we'll go like, but if you want the Super Secret Collector physical edition, it only costs you $50 more.
Yeah.
And so you'd be spending like $120 to get the physical limited edition gold engraved, whatever. Only 2,000 in stock. Buy it now.
Yeah.
It's like the horse and the car. The horse is special now because it's not common, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
Can you
That's
imagine
a unique way of putting it.
If they sold a car now and they said like, but if you want the horse, it'll
some
be this
people
much
want the horse. I'm okay with games being completely 100% digital. I think, the secondhand market will. I mean, I don't know what they'll do about that, but where I'm not okay with it though is in film, because when you compare the quality of a Blu-ray, physical Blu-ray versus Netflix streaming, it's night and day. I mean, some people will say it's not, but it truly is. It's night and day. The bit rate on streaming is poor. But if you go, back to games, there's no difference. It's just you've got the game or you don't have the game, right?
Yeah. The movie stuff is very interesting, actually, because it's usually uncompressed or not compressed much at all. When it's on disc, it sounds way, way better. It looks better.
Way better.
They compress the hell out of streams online. Netflix and Sky's a perfect example. Sky's 4K channel, Sky Sports in the UK, compressed to hell. It's compressed a lot, and that's never the same quality as actually having it native. And
there's no multi-channel surround sound. So I think you might get 5.1, but there's definitely no 7.1. There's no anything higher than that. There's no Atmos in the true sense of what it is.
Atmos, I love it.
It's a much, much poorer experience in film.
Yeah, but now since the advent of 10 gig lines, you can see that might change someday.
Well, yes, if only, mate, if only. The last thing quickly I've got on my docket, which I found really amusing, we don't really talk about this much, but it is gaming at the end of the day. Mobile gaming, really popular in China.
Is it
really popular
Resident Evil.
It's really popular everywhere.
No, but China specifically, they make so much money from mobile. I don't know if it's the number one platform. It may be. Resident Evil 2 Remake has not even crossed 10,000 sales on iOS. New report claims that quadrupling the price on Apple's App Store caused purchases to nosedive. So I think Resident Evil 4 came out a little while ago and had this same problem as well. When Resident Evil 2 came out for iOS devices, right, because, they can usually play them okay, I guess. Yeah. It was a special price of $9.99, right? And that's, for a game like that, you think, all right, that's a good shout. Yeah, we'll go for that. And then after the 1 month trial price, it shot up to $40, right? $40 for a game.
$40?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
There's where they went wrong.
Whoa.
Now, I know it takes them a lot of money to get this configured and running nicely, but even then, boys, you're lucky if you're getting 1080 60. More often it's like 30 frames and it's closer to 720p. Now on a screen that small, you're thinking that's all you need, but you want more value for your money. And at $40, I think they've answered their own question as to why this is flopping.
Right.
It's,
I mean, when you're talking about a PC or console game being $100, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's pretty high. When you just said $40 for a mobile game, that has blown my mind.
And with the touch controls are horrible. Like, I don't really play games on my phone. There's a little silly game I play at the moment called Monopoly Go, because for one, I don't need to put it in landscape. I can hold it horizontal and I can play it for a few minutes and then turn it off and then put it on again later that day or next day. That's fun. That's quick. It's a free game with in-app purchases. But a game like this, touch controls are never. This kind of game should never have touch controls. Yes, you could plug in a controller, and if you're plugging a controller,
you might as well go for a console.
Playing a console, then
it's just not the right kind of game for a phone, is it?
No. Really I
saw.
not,
I don't know. Probably about 6 months ago, I saw Assassin's Creed. I think it was Mirage ported to mobile on the phone. Now, I only have two things to say about it. When I watched the actual footage on YouTube of it, I was amazed that they actually were able to get that game onto a phone. So as far as that part of it goes, I was really like, wow, that's impressive to get it onto a phone. But once I saw the game playing and stuff like that, I'm going like, no, that ain't for me, man. I mean, it's just like, there's no comparison. I mean, it doesn't move like it should. It doesn't do anything like it should, really, to speak of.
Yeah.
But, so I don't know. I guess it's for people that really think they're going to want something like that. I don't know. The majority of sales for mobile games tend to be what I call the mindless games, not in a bad way. I play one or two of those mindless games on my phone once every so often, just because it's easy and it's fun and it's quick and it's whatever. You don't have to use a lot of brain power for it. So doesn't surprise me that the market actually is much bigger than PC and console. If you remember the chart we had up before when we were talking,
it's much bigger.
You saw the mobile market; it was like 80 billion. On the PC market was like 30. So you're talking about triple almost, and stuff. I mean, we missed the boat, guys. We should have come out with an app a long time ago. We'd be millionaires now.
And when you consider that all these mobile games, they're built around all the microtransactions and the different currencies and all that kind of stuff. Like, again, $40 for a mobile game. Fucking
Crazy.
hell.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. It really is. That's what I've got for news on my end. Great. What I need to do is I need to drop off in a few minutes. However, I would love you, if it's up to yourself, to please carry on with the little bits of news you've still got, and then in a few minutes I'll just quietly drop off and you just finish it off as is.
I think what I'm going to do next week, just so you know, Trevor, I'm going to hold off on the DLSS and losses scaling for next show, because we need to talk about that a little.
Yeah, sure.
We don't have enough time.
Sure, but you can do your game news and I'll quickly just drop off and then we'll,
Yeah, no problem. One thing I was going to talk about going on to some game news is that everybody and the guys here have been bugging me like, you bought the Meta Quest 3 months ago. Why haven't you started it? Why haven't you put it on? Why aren't you playing games with it? So finally, I not through procrastination, just through one thing or another, I started on it, and then 2 days ago, I finally put it on my head and played like the first game. I forget what it was called, but it was a VR game that basically scanned the whole room, and then as the game plays, it looks like pieces of your roof are falling out, and aliens are getting in. These little furry looking creatures or whatever.
Oh I've got that.
Yeah, and you basically shoot them, and because I've never experienced it before, I just was sitting. I was like cracking up. I couldn't believe how cool it was. I mean,
that's augmented reality. So interrupt.
Yeah, augmented.
Is that when you see both, and it's like in your room, and you're like, they're coming through my window, man. No, and then you realize
that's cool.
The thing that amazed me, and I know that some of you guys have already had the experience, but the thing that amazed me was that when it mapped out the room, and I mapped where I'm sitting right now. I have 3 monitors, a computer, my desk. It's not conducive to moving around too much, which is okay because I don't want to move around too much. But the point is that it also scanned all my walls, the roof, the door that's way over there, the other walls that are way over there, and all the shit behind me, right? So once I saw it scanned everything, which is really cool looking, I said, all right, I wonder how this is going to work. And the cool thing was that the game took anything from anywhere and did stuff. So I saw a piece of the floor open up, and I saw these little furry aliens coming out of it. But here's the thing that I thought was really cool. It knew that there was a desk there. So you see these little critters like go moving back, like they're trying to hide under my desk, and I literally have to go like this, under the desk to be able to shoot them. And then there was also another table. Like I have another little side table over here, with my third monitor on it, and there was ones hiding behind the desk down on the floor, and I'm sitting there going like, trying to shoot these things. I thought that was fabulous, man. It was like great. I really liked it.
I've not been much of a VR or AR gamer myself, to be honest, but I think there's some real good applications for it. Just really gives developers the chance to just go all out and do cool stuff. But I think it's not quite there yet. Do you know? It's not...
I mean, it's the only reason I bought them on the Quest now is I felt that now I think the technology has come far enough that I can enjoy it. Whereas before it's kind of like, I need it to be at a certain level.
The thing that's missing for me is movement, because you still have to like teleport from place to place, right? And that kind of brings me out of the experience. And did you see the film or read the book? Oh God, I forget the name now. The one with 80s nostalgia, and the guy lives inside the Oasis. It's the video, the VR game.
I'll take your word for it.
Oh, okay, well, they've got this Ready Player One.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So they've got the sort of thing that they stand on, and it allows you to walk and to run in all different directions. And I think there's some companies have brought something out like that, and that's the thing for me that's missing. Once that is kind of standard in the home for everyone, that's when I think VR is going to blow up.
I mean, I barely scratched the surface of this thing, so I know people that are listening to this right now going like, "Heck, I'm a pro at this." I'm not yet. No. But what I was mentioned before last week was I didn't buy it on the intention of gaming with it. I'm not saying I'm not going to game with it. I will, but that wasn't the reason I bought it. I wanted to get it because I want to be able to experience going anywhere in the world and looking 360 and imagining at least the best possible that I'm actually there, because I know there's no way in hell I'm going to get to these places in my lifetime, and stuff. But if I can be there through that, so now I'm starting to do research on what films and VR videos that I can watch, because some of the stuff that I've seen, people say like, "Oh, this is great." So I go look at it and I go like, "No, that's not great," because I can tell that it's film mixed with generated images.
Yeah,
I don't want that. I want the real thing. As if I was standing on top of Mount Everest or whatever. I want to look at the real stuff. I don't want any manufactured crap. I just want to see what it's like to the best of my ability if I can't actually be there.
Imagine being able to walk up Mount Everest in VR and for it to feel real.
Sure.
That would be incredible.
And I think
how far away are we from that?
Oh, well, we're probably not that far. I mean, right now they have tactile, they said. I didn't experience it yet, but there was this travel game where you went to like the Grand Canyon, let's say, or whatever, and you look down, and you can pick up a rock, and then you can throw it into the canyon, and it's real. Like you see the rock going all the way down to the bottom of the canyon. I'm like, well, that's cool. It was something different. So it was really nifty. So I did enjoy that. So I can't wait to start really getting into it more and try to really see what else can be done with it. But it is pretty cool. I think technology has come a long way.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's got to the point where I'm considering getting into VR. And I think for me, the big thing is going to be, so I like racing games as well, but I haven't played racing games so much recently because I've been wanting to build myself a proper racing sim rig.
Okay.
But you know how you would usually see them though with like the multi-screens in front?
Sure.
People are building them now more with VR headsets because they're so good. The refresh rate is so high, the quality is so good that you can play one of these really high-end races like, iRacing or Assetto Corsa, and for it to look, with a hefty piece of machinery behind it, really, really good. And that's what I'd love to do. I'd be very excited for that.
Well, Tara, we've come up to right against 2 hours, so we're going to get going. I appreciate everybody out there listening to us. We will be back on again next week as well as we usually are. So thanks very much for participating, and we will see you on Extreme Gaming Podcast again next week. So everybody say goodbye.
Thanks. Bye.
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. In my heart. one is